Lab is also a vital component of the class and gives you additional opportunities for active learning. Lab is part of your overall grade for Biology 1114. As such, you only receive 1 grade for the course, and it is a combination of your lecture and lab assessments. Through a combination of activities, quizzes, and the final, you will have the opportunity to earn 250 points. This will be weighted to 20% of your overall grade for 1114. Lab will meet directly following lecture and be held in Science and Math 203 on both Monday and Wednesday. Attendance in lab is mandatory, and missing more than 3 labs will be cause for automatic failure in Biology 1114. There will be 11 lab activities that we will perform throughout the course of the semester. You are expected to attend all 11 activities. However, if you complete less than 9 of these activities, you will receive an F regardless of performance in the lecture component of the class. The activities can be found in the lab manual, and this is available in the college bookstore. Please be aware that the lab manual is a custom printed product and is only available in the college bookstore. In addition to these activities, you will also have 10 lab quizzes. These quizzes will be given at the beginning of each lab and will cover the material covered in the previous week's lab activity. There are no makeups for the quizzes, and the quizzes are given via a PowerPoint and Scantron. If you are late for the quiz, you will have to start on whichever question is currently on the board. We will not revisit past slides. Be on time for lab. At the end of the semester, we will have a comprehensive lab practicum. This will involve you looking at previous samples and specimens from throughout the semester. Through a combination of activities, quizzes, and the final, you will have the opportunity to earn 250 points. This will be weighted to 20% of your overall grade for 1114. We will further discuss labs during the scheduled lab period on the first Monday of the semester. Finally, let's discuss the expectations of students and faculty during the course of the semester. It is very important that students take responsibility for their learning and conduct both in the classroom and outside of it. Let's begin with student preparedness. The best analogy I've yet to hear regarding student success is that of a gym membership. You get out of it what you put into it. Buying or having a gym membership is not a guarantee for fitness or health, just as paying for or having access to an education does not guarantee your success in a class. You have to go. You have to do something while you're there. But you have to focus on health and wellness even when you're not at the gym. Similarly, you have to attend class, be engaged while in class, and work on that material outside of the scheduled class time. Just showing up and socializing at the gym won't get you healthy, and working out for an hour can be undone by eating supersized meals at fast food restaurants 5 times a day. Likewise, just showing up to class, not paying attention or participating during class, and not thinking about class for those days that we are not together will similarly result in an unsatisfactory outcome at the end of the semester. Therefore, when you come to class, you need to actively participate. Just because the content is provided in a video format does not mean that you shouldn't still be taking notes. Furthermore, when we are doing in-class activities, you should be taking notes as well. Additionally, the general rule of thumb is that for each credit hour of class, you should be spending 2 to 3 times that amount of time preparing outside of class each week. Therefore, for Biology 1114, you should be spending a minimum of 8 to 12 hours outside of class preparing each week. Before each exam, you should have put in roughly 24 plus hours of preparation, and that cannot be realistically achieved the day before the test. Those time estimates are also geared towards getting an average, which is a C, or good, which is a B grade. If you expect to earn an excellent score in the class, you should be prepared to put in additional study time. So, in order to further your success in this course, you should be well organized. You are provided with a schedule in your syllabus and will often be reminded in class of upcoming due dates and exams. Not being prepared for an assessment because you forgot it or didn't know it was coming up is not responsible behavior. Additionally, keep up on assessments. Waiting till the last minute to complete something is often a recipe for disaster. Waiting until there are 5 minutes until a deadline and then your computer freezing up does not constitute an emergency or a valid reason to make an exception to a policy in the syllabus. Be ready and willing to ask questions during class. By having a large bulk of content presented before we meet with each other on Monday and Wednesday, you should have time to form questions regarding the material. Never be afraid to ask questions. We will have anonymous mechanisms for asking questions, but even in class, you should feel comfortable asking content-related questions. Some of the best discussions and learning opportunities arise when someone asks a question that illustrates a misconception. One of the most difficult tasks as an instructor is to identify when a class is developing a misconception, and student-driven questions are the best way to bring these to light. And last but not least, be courteous. Being on time is very important to this point. Latecomers are very distracting and should not expect class to be stopped or slowed down to bring them up to speed. Please silence all cell phones and electronic devices. If you have an emergency that requires you to take a phone call, please quietly leave the classroom before answering the call and go down the hallway away from the classroom to have your conversation. Texting should be for emergencies only and non-obtrusive. Personal conversations should not be held during class. Talking will be necessary for our active learning activities, but should be content-driven. No talking, texting, or electronic device use is allowed during in-class quizzes. It should also be expected that I take responsibility for the level of instruction that I will provide you and my conduct toward you. To this end, it is my job to be as current as possible in a constantly changing field. As we discussed earlier, and we see again and again in the first chapters that we go through, scientific understanding of the world around us is not static. As a scientist, I must be responsible for keeping up to date on new findings. This extends to how I present this material to students as well. In a technology-driven world, the way in which instructors present and assess students cannot stay the same, and all instructors should be responsible in being current on trends in education. I am a strong proponent of the motto, give respect, get respect. From a conduct standpoint, I will always treat students as people who are mature enough to have made the decision to enroll in a college-level course. This means that I'm not going to publicly scold or shame anyone who falls asleep or is otherwise distracted during class, as long as they are not distracting to any other student who is invested in paying attention. However, that means if an assessment isn't completed, you miss an announcement, or you don't perform well on exams, you have to own that you are not actively engaged during class. Whereas I may not stop class to call anyone out for such behavior, I'm usually aware of it. Practically what this means is that if a student approaches me on a one-on-one basis to ask why they aren't doing well in the class, and they've been noticed to be routinely texting, sleeping, or doing non-class related activities, I will point out in private that those behaviors may be related to their lack of success. I'm looking forward to a busy and productive semester. Thank you for your time in reviewing this video series. Please take time to review the syllabus thoroughly and be ready to ask questions during the first class.